he would probably blush to hear me say this, but it's him that it's how honest he is and how he is with people and customers. They love it.
Welcome back to Podcast on Wheels with your host, Brian Smith. And today in studio, we are featuring a client with our insurance business, but enough about that part. We have Katrina in studio. Welcome to today.
Hey.
So you're coming in to represent a company that is a locally owned family business, and we're just going to talk about what separates you guys from other companies, kind of what brought y'all to this point, how we work together. But just kind of tell us about your guys' company and what it is.
So we are an HVAC company out of Athens, Chad's Climate Control. My husband will joke and tell you he's not a salesperson. You know, he was in law enforcement for 20 years, and he's an investigator. So instead of trying to sell people, he tries to investigate, I guess you can say,
There you go.
what they need best. But we both worked for, and our son too, another HVAC company, and you just get to the point where you think maybe I just need to do it for myself. And so we ventured out a couple months ago, and we're still kind of new, but we're loving it. We're loving working for ourselves and being able to help people, and so it's been good so far.
Well, let's visit, because like on this show, and I like to talk to real people about real things, and your business is like, let's tell people that are watching. So how many miles from right here is your business approximately? Are we talking?
About 16 miles.
16 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so right here in our backyard. And when you guys started the business and you guys are like, how do we get these things going? What are some things that you go through as a wife, as the support, as the leader, as back and forth, like starting a business?
Mm-hmm.
What are some things that kind of happen?
Well, the main thing that kept us from taking that leap was the insurance.
Okay.
Honestly, we stayed where we were probably a little bit longer than we would have. I was scared to death of not having good coverage for my kids, and that's where y'all came into play.
Yeah.
But that was probably the biggest thing for both of us. I mean, and the financial, not, we had to have faith there.
Right.
But as like the wife, I kept, Chad was like, oh, hey, we're going to do it now. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. We don't have this insurance thing figured out. We don't have it figured out. And, and I'm not just saying that. That's the honest truth. And
Yeah.
He's like, call Courtney. So y'all are a big help in that area for us. But, and just we had to like finally take I don't know the right word for it, but, I guess believe in ourselves, because for so long and so many years we've just worked for other people,
Right.
and
Right.
it's like a fear kind of thing. Like, are we going to be financially stable to do it? And it just took a leap. We just had to have faith.
And as as we talked before the show, and we have some mutual friends and local people that we know, but it's like the answer is no. You're never really going to be financially stable, and it's like, because people like you guys, when we started talking today about, okay, because this is coming from me, okay, I played baseball, I coached baseball. I've learned car business. I've learned insurance business. Now, if I walk into my house in the summertime and it's not comfortable, I don't know what to do. It's like, well, this ain't right. It's supposed to be cooler in here, right? So I would look up and call an HVAC company. So to me, understanding like what would separate your company from other companies, and we've talked about some pricing and how you guys do things, but share with us some real stories. Like, you guys are newer, but you operate with the wisdom of a business that's been around for a while, but how you're treating people, right? And it's like, so Give us some stories of that, like the real stories. What separates you guys?
Well, we did have an older lady give us a call back when it was really cold. It was right before it got really cold, and she was pretty upset. She had no heat. She didn't know what she was going to do. Bless her. She even told me on the phone, she's like, "I don't have any money. You know, I can pay y'all for coming out." But our son actually works for us. He's our service manager. And he went out there and he tried to do what he could for her, and the repair didn't last. Because, I mean, I think the unit was close to 30 years old. Okay. So it'd been a good one you know. Right. And bless her, she didn't really have a lot of help from her children. They don't live near here. But we just so happened to have a unit. I mean, it wasn't brand new, but it was newer, that we had to pull out. And we had thought we'd keep it for somebody similar to her, but we had planned on, making a little bit of money on it. And bless her, she was like on a fixed income kind of thing. And, but the first time her first payment was due, so we put this unit in for her, and her first payment came due, and bless her, we're busy. And she knew we lived down the road from her. And so she kept riding by trying to catch us, and she'd call me. She's like, "I got your payment. I don't want you to think we're not paying you." And she actually had needed some help at her house getting her garage door open. So we went down there. She paid me, and my husband, Chad, got her door open. And he just looked at me. He said, "Something's telling me I need to, give her that unit." And he said, "So write her a receipt, telling her it's paid in full." And so we did that. And bless her, she cried and she thanked us. And the most awesome feeling is when she said, I asked God to fix this for me, and He sent me y'all. And we can't do that all the time, obviously, but it's nice being able to make that decision to help people in need like that. And
there's, as a business owner, for I think we calculated it up the other day, for at least 22, 23 years, I've been in business for myself in some way. And yes, you're right, you can't do that for everybody, but she didn't call you and ask for it.
No, absolutely
Like she called and said, "This is what I can do. I'm being honest with you." And y'all set up a payment plan just like you could, but it's like for your husband to say that and for you to support that in the moment, that doesn't come from spontaneous ideas, suggestions. That comes from something more, right?
Right.
So, tell us a little bit about that. Like, because you don't all of a sudden decide, "Hey, I'm going to do something nice for somebody," right? So your business is built on, like, tell us the communication, the faith, the honesty, the integrity. It's like, wow, this is.
Well, my husband and I were at church one Sunday.
Yeah.
And it was the first time we went to this church. We'd been invited by a contractor that uses us.
Okay.
And, we still go. We became members of this church. But I want to say it's crazy, but it's God. His sermon that day was about having faith. And he said, "I'm speaking to the people that are thinking about starting a business. I'm speaking to those people about, having faith." And we both looked at each other real quick. And the guy that had invited us, he turned around and he started pointing at my husband, telling him, "This is your sign." And so from that day forward is when we knew we just had to finally just have faith and trust that He was going to make things happen. And it's nerve-wracking sometimes, especially when you run a business that is based on what it's doing outside. If it's hot or cold, and when it's mild, it's not always great, but we both knew that we were meant to do something more for ourselves and for other people and for other families. Our son works for us. My brother-in-law works for us. We have a lot of people that depend on us. But there comes a time when it's not about the money, and with that lady, not young lady, but that lady. It's more of I wouldn't say spontaneous, but we had always said if we could help somebody, and we would, and it's like God told us at that time we were meant to help her.
Yeah.
So
No, it makes complete sense sitting over here, and to hear the God stories and to see God working in people. And, the the last show that we recorded, and I told the guy, I said, you know what? You didn't have to tell me that you were a Christian, and you didn't have to run around with your Bible in the air telling me who you are. I said, it's there, it's evident. And, at the same time, you have a ministry that you've been able to help this lady. You guys also run a quality business.
Right.
You guys also have been working in this industry, understand this industry. You have the connections. You already, it's not like you decided that you guys were going to start, I guess, I don't know, building skyscrapers or something in Athens. That wouldn't make sense. It would be like, why aren't we going to do that? But what are some things that you've learned that you were like, oh, okay, I did have confidence in that. We are good at this. What are some things some feedback from customers that they're like, wow, this is better than what the other company did or things,
I mean, there's several different things. Well, the contractor that we do work for, he told my husband the other day, he says, I don't call and check your prices. He said, because I know that you're not gouging me. He said, I trust you. I'm he's like, if I'm hiring an electrician or a plumber, he said, I always have to check them because, people try to rip me off because I am a contractor. Well, we don't do him that way because he's a loyal customer.
Right.
And we try not to do anybody that way in any sense. Sometimes if somebody if they're needing 3 units, it's obviously going to be more than somebody with one smaller one.
Right.
But we try to be honest in everything that we do, and that's my husband's biggest thing is honesty and just telling people, like, they'll ask him, like, what would you do if this was you?
Right.
And he tries to always tell them, I would go with this unit, or
right.
You don't necessarily need this, and just really just being honest, and we just want all of our customers to trust us.
Right.
Really.
And that's one thing that, as we on this show have worked with many small business, family-owned type things, it's like, okay, there are other companies that do similar work that have a corporate and a script, and they're trained in this way, and they're paid on commissions, and we all understand that. At the same time, people like you and your husband and your family and the team that you guys are putting together is impressive in that fact. Now, where are we going with this business? How many trucks do we want to have on the road in the future? How many employees? What are some things? Or do you guys kind of like, okay, the contractor invited us to church. We didn't know what the sermon was going to be. And then God goes, hey. And then you're like, oh, okay, now this next opportunity. How do you guys approach that as business owners? Are you forecasting with caution, with faith, with God lead us? Like, how does that work for you guys?
I would say with faith,
Okay.
because even though we're new and it's been mild, we have 8 employees, and I know of 3 right now off the top of my head that want to come work for Chad. They're waiting on him to call. One of them texted today. It's like, hey, you have any work you need me to do? And he's like, I'm sorry, maybe next week, So I think it's really him. Like, people love working for him. He's not a micromanager, and he can train people, like, on the phone, no kidding. They'll call him and say, hey, this unit's doing this. I don't know what's wrong with it. And he'll tell them, check this, check this, check this. He's literally like an over-the-phone coach and can teach them on the phone how to fix something. And I've never really seen anybody that can do that, like especially with that kind of mechanical equipment. But he can. He's highly intelligent when it comes to the units and stuff. I think what sets him apart, though, is, like I told you earlier, he's not a salesman, and he'll tell people that I'm probably the most terrible salesman, because I'm going to be honest with you. And a buddy that he knows that does HVAC too, and Tony, he told him that. He's like, you're a terrible salesman. And he's like, well, I'm not a salesman. I'm an investigator.
Right.
That's what I did for a living,
Right.
He just happens to know how to do HVAC. And I think that's what really, he would probably blush to hear me say this, but it's him it's how honest he is and how he is with people and customers. They love him. It's always like, if he has an estimate to go to, Like, oh, if they're going to be there, I know I can sell it. And it's the way he talks to people. It's the way he is with people. They trust him.
Yeah. Well, they didn't set up the estimate because they didn't have a problem. So they needed an expert's opinion. And when you get an expert that comes in that makes you feel comfortable, that tells you the best case scenario, that's the best value, he's not selling.
Exactly.
He's providing experience and service. And you guys, as you know, it's like you said, you got people waiting that need work because they want to be affiliated, associated, and work with. So, sounds like you guys got a great problem. So, how do we let people know about you guys? You guys have some social media out there. You've got a commercial. You're doing different things. Tell us about that. That's exciting stuff. Tell us.
We spoke about Anthony before this started,
Sure.
but he used to have his daughters in his commercial,
Right.
and he had always told me, kids sell,
Yeah.
and so we did one commercial that's got my 8-year-old son in it, my niece, and it's with the kids. It's cute. He's playing a technician, and then we have one of all of our guys that work for us, and so it's like a balance. We got both worlds, and that's on WHNT. And then, of course, we have Facebook, and we have a TikTok account.
Right.
So, yeah, that's our...
Yeah, and I saw, the other guys, we had some weather coming in. Did I hear like a weather report? You guys did some post that was sharing. And
Oh, yeah, the WHNT, the live weather. I can't remember exactly what it's called.
I'm sorry,
but
I should have told you, but I'm
like,
I saw this, I remember it.
Yeah, so we have that where, like, when weather's happening, we'll pop up on it.
Yeah.
And so we're really trying to find what works for us.
Yeah.
There's so many HVAC companies out there. And so really what's been the best thing for us is word of mouth.
Yeah.
Which they say that's the best kind of advertisement you can have is the people saying, hey, they did a good job. Hey, I know them. They're honest. Which is why I thought this was great, being on your show.
Well, that's why I wanted to have you on the show. Okay? Not everybody that I've worked with in the past gets an open door to this show. I'll say it that way. But, that's one thing that I'll say. I used to sell used trucks, okay? And just over here in Madison, next to the Walmart, Zaxby's, the bowling alley, right over there, I sold trucks over there for several years. And when we transitioned into insurance, I said, you know what, I'm gonna try to keep the same Facebook business page. Because I don't know any other guys that sold cars for 3 or 4 years that still talk to their customers. Because normally when you sell cars, that reputation, that salesman, that type of thing, that's why I feel like I resonate with you guys. It's like whether Chad was an investigator or he's coming over to talk to you about HVAC, or maybe you just have some questions of something that he knows, like he's going to provide that same type of service, right?
Right.
I mean, that's who he is.
Mm-hmm.
So if people want to come work for you, how do people, they can find you on Facebook, they can find you here, they can find you there. What's the phone number for you guys?
Our office number is 256-289-3836.
Okay. And if somebody needs an estimate, you guys, you said he helps them over the phone, and I'm thinking, okay.
The technicians.
So I understand. But at the same time, it's like, in health insurance, we have something called a teledoc, and you have to have some type of sense in order to talk to the doc, so the tech would have to. So how could he monetize that service, which he would never even entertain because that's part of who he is and what he does. So my brain goes to business sometime. Like he could be the teledoc for the HVAC group, like he could provide that service. But as people come to you guys, are there a limit on like certain items, or how does HVAC, like I don't even know. Like I know if I need a truck part, I go to Ford. That's the type of truck I have. But I wouldn't even know the brand, or how does that work?
Yeah, so, and you asked a minute ago, estimates are always free.
Okay.
No matter if it's for a unit or ductwork or what. They would come out and give you an estimate for free.
Free? Okay.
Yeah, and no matter what type of unit you have, of course, different distributors carry different parts for units. we can get like warranty parts for any of them, and so it would really just like if you need a repair or a part, we would have to send a technician out because obviously they don't sell parts for HVAC units if you don't have a license.
Well, tell us a little bit about that, because I've learned that the hard way trying to help a friend with a building that they had an office space in. How does that work? Like, I thought I could buy the part, right?
No,
Why?
they make you have a license.
Right.
Um,
Well, just like you can't sell insurance.
exactly.
Right,
I can't
so-
sell insurance.
right.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, not yet. We can get there, but I don't, and I could get a license
Yeah.
too, but why would they do that?
To keep, I don't really know.
Yeah.
I guess because they don't want somebody that doesn't know what they're doing buying parts and putting them on. I mean, all kind of stuff could happen wrong, especially the gas unit. You could cause somebody's house to blow up if you don't
That's
do
why,
it right, you
right?
know? So, something bad could happen.
Yeah.
They want to make sure whoever's buying those parts knows what they're doing and where to put them and the correct way to put them in.
And has done the work and the
Yeah,
licensing
exactly.
and understand it all. But it's like, that's the reason that I say that, because, again, somebody of your honesty and integrity wouldn't think like the person who, I could get this part and put it in. I don't care if it blows up my house, because you wouldn't even think like that. So that's why you didn't know. But at the same time, me being around a bunch of guys, when I heard I couldn't get the part to fix the unit, I thought, why not? I've got a guy over here that I know that used to do HVAC 20 years ago. He can probably put it in.
Yeah.
And the whole story is, and I've never shared this with you, that the actual model number of the unit on the outside, that motor had already been replaced with something and something. So if I hadn't have got those people to contact a real provider, the parts inside didn't match the parts on the outside, because evidently somebody else had been in it. And if you didn't get experience, you would have just made it worse.
Exactly.
Right? And it never would have worked.
Yeah.
So they would have thrown thousands of dollars at these parts that supposedly wouldn't even matched up with the equipment, because you wouldn't know that motor didn't belong to that truck if you didn't know the HVAC system. Same difference.
Gotcha.
Right? So,
yeah.
There's a lot of things that I've seen, and I'm like, why can't you just buy the part? Oh, okay. Well, you don't want me to kill a bunch of people by doing the wrong thing. So, but as far as a free estimate, that, I didn't know that about you guys. But I don't see that very often. I mean, we do free assessments for certain businesses, but how do y'all do that?
Well, it's only for, like, if you're new unit. So if you need an estimate for a repair, that's not going to be obviously free.
Okay.
But it's for new units and new ductwork.
Okay.
We do. And, I hate to say this, but honestly, a lot of companies do the free estimates
Yeah.
for repairs.
Yeah.
They do. Most companies do that. Now, like, we do have different specials for, like, if you have an issue with your air conditioning, like $25 off a service call and $79 tune-ups. We are offering those
Okay.
to try to help,
Right.
with the cost of a repair.
All right. So you found common problems and you've put a price point on it to let people know that you're out there and come in and show your honest work, so that the reputation can build, the testimonies grow, and everything comes from that. Genius again, because, a good friend of mine out of California, Justin Wenzel, shout out, brother. I'll have you on in a couple weeks. His dad, when he started the car dealerships years ago, okay, he did oil changes for like $9.99. And the service department goes, "You're losing money." And he said, "No, I'm building a business. And I'm getting to know people." And you know how many people lined up to get the $9.99 oil
Probably a
change?
bunch.
All that they could handle. But everybody came to them and then got to meet them. So again, I'm hearing, people who have been there, done that, and now they've created generational wealth and made a lot of difference and impacted a lot of people. And you guys are doing the same thing. So cheers to you.
Thank you.
Cheers to you. So as you guys service Athens area, how far out, or what area are we covering?
We cover Athens, Madison, Huntsville, Decatur, Hartselle,
Okay.
Fogville. We've even put a unit in out there not too long ago.
Okay.
So all of Madison, Morgan, and Limestone counties.
Okay. All right. And that's a lot of people.
And we will go into Tennessee as well.
Okay.
We've gone to Fayetteville and Ardmore.
Yeah. And guys, if you don't know, I graduated from Hartselle, and I can be in Tennessee quicker than I can Hartselle. So that's, I mean, from my house, I can.
Right.
I can be in Tennessee quicker. So, but what else do I, like, what should I ask? What do I not know to ask? If what is something about y'all's business that I don't even know to ask? Is there something that you're like, oh, well, you didn't even say this, and this is what we do here, or who do y'all work with, or is there anything I forgot?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No, I mean, like I told you, we are carrier dealers. We also have a second line. It's our Rude. They're made by Ream.
Okay.
And you'd be surprised at how many people carry the unit. You know,
Well,
before
I'm gonna time out right there, because is Rude spelled R-U-U-D?
It is.
So why do I know that? Because it's a recognizable brand, made by Ream. And then Carrier, if you don't know who Carrier is, you've never walked outside of your house, right? But it's like, okay, top of the line products. Okay, keep going.
And all of our technicians are NATE certified.
Okay.
And so that's the schooling here in Alabama.
Yeah.
Like the top of the line school for technicians,
Yeah.
HVAC technicians. And all of ours are NATE certified.
Awesome. So you guys, again, your LLC may not have the length of time as other people, but who you are, what kind of business y'all are running. Most, and I'm going to go ahead and say this, even though you may be listening, we may have other HVAC companies that work with us in some capacity in the insurance industry. But it's all about your perception. You see what you're looking for. If you're looking for the opportunity to help the elderly lady that is trying to make her payments, that does everything she says she's supposed to do, and then your husband goes, hey, write her a receipt, and let's thank God for being able to do this, and expect really nothing in return other than thank you for this day, thank you for this opportunity to do it. Right? That's what's cool about you guys. So, you know, working with you guys, seeing how you built the business, seeing what you're doing, putting the kids on the commercial. And we go back to Anthony's conversation. It's like, yeah, kids see it, but you know what else I see? The more I involve my kids, they experience it with me.
Right, exactly.
And now it's a family deal. And you know what? We may not get a return like we thought on that commercial, but we're going to remember that time.
Right.
And that memory.
And my son, Justin, his nurse at school the other day asked him for his autograph. Well, and that just made his whole month.
That is
so
so
he
cool.
was so excited that the people at school are seeing it.
Yeah.
And so it is a family. It's awesome to be able to share that with them.
Again, like those are the things that I heard that I learned about your business today. It's like, okay, top of the line products, check. Honesty, check. Family's important. It's evident. Look at their social media. Look at their commercials. Yeah, you know. And if truth be known, Anthony, God rest your soul, I'd rather see your grandkid's face than yours still to this day, brother. I mean, you were the best looking fella. But, you know, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for working with us in the insurance industry. And just to recap, I didn't ask her to say what you said about the insurance.
Oh,
and
no,
moving
absolutely
businesses.
not. That's the honest truth. He
Yeah.
kept us there longer.
Yeah.
And you had mentioned about other HVAC companies, and we have several friends that own HVAC business. When you've done this for so long and you go to carrier things and all that, you know people. I mean, every single house you see now has an HVAC unit. There's enough business out there for us all.
Yeah.
You know, there just is.
Yeah. Again, that's how y'all look at things. Abundance.
Right.
God will provide. There's provisions for everybody. I love it. I love it. The more you talk, it's like, okay, when are we going to do the next episode to say, hey, you remember those 3 people we were talking about back during the first quarter? Well, now we're in the third quarter and we got 20 people.
Yeah.
And we're in this many places. So, you know, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
And if you guys found any value or you need some HVAC services and you don't call Chad, well, then you're probably going to get a call from me if I hear you guys some work done or if I see it on your social media. At least give them a chance because, guys, as we collaborate with local businesses and we all win together, if you call them and maybe you don't like what they say or maybe you have a question, you know you're going to get honest feedback from them and they're going to explain it to you because not necessarily the price you're paying is what you're getting. What value are you getting? What guarantees, what honesty comes with it? And that's what we need to look at for all of our businesses, right?
Right.
So I didn't plan on saying that to wrap up the show, but hopefully you guys got some value today. And if you did, share this show with somebody that you know that can grow from this information. And thank you for watching Podcast on Wheels.